Since. Let's see. Okay, all right. Okay, roll it. All right, I call the meeting of the Emergency Services Facilities Building Committee to order. Date is 1/8/2026, the time is 8:35, 6:35, 18:35. Members present is Andrew Marco, Ralph Toulis, David Kosky, James Knight, Mike Koo, Peter Letitia, Ron Gantick, Tyler Millix. Absent is Brenna Keller, Stuart Cobb, Tom Snyder. All right. Do we need to make a motion to seek James for somebody? So moved. We'll proceed for Tom. Peter for Tom. All right, motions were made and seconded to seek James Knight, Tom Snyder. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Thank you, Jay. All right, I'd like to have a moment of recognition. January is Cancer Awareness Month, month for our nation's firefighters. Firefighters in general have a much higher rate of various forms of cancer based on their occupation and vocation than the population, and it's something that is one of those things that needs to be made aware of. So, well, recognize that. All right, the item
I'm gonna make a motion to add an item to new business.
item has been made to a motion. What is that?
Discussion of the introduction that I proposed for business report.
All right, the motion's been made to discuss Ralph's initial draft summary report of Fitch's report. We have a second? Second. The motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, that item B for new business. Discussion of summary. Sorry.
The point of clarification,
Yes.
as with the last meeting, I'm not going to make any motions or vote on anything, just.
Oh, right.
Even though I think we clarified legally, I could participate in the meeting, I think it's probably just a little too many things being
Okay.
first selectman and a fire department representative, so.
But to that, Mike, if just for the public record and for this meeting's record, can you reiterate or tell us again what you learned from FOIA about the three of us being on a committee?
Yes, the three of us sitting here right now are the three members of the Board of Selectmen, and the question that was posed was, can we operate in what would be a quorum for the Board of Selectmen in another meeting, committee, whatever? The clarification was, yes, we can be on other committees in what would constitute a quorum with the Board of Selectmen. And we do not have to call a joint meeting or a meeting of the Board of Selectmen as long as we don't do specifically Board of Selectmen work. So we can't sit here and debate what we would talk about in the selectmen's meeting and how we might decide as selectmen on an issue. We have to do the work of this committee, and in that case, it is legal. I've chosen to take the extra step of not participating in the motions or the votes simply because of the fact that being a fire department representative and the first selectman is kind of muddying the waters.
Right, because you're ex officio of all boards and commissions anyway by
Virtue of your position.
by statute. for your
Yes,
position.
correct. Yes, sir.
Are you remaining as a member from Wellington Hill? Mike?
I guess that probably deserves clarification. I mean, I don't think I should represent. It's fun. Well, I guess this is where it's complicated, right? Because we're all involved in everything.
I know it is.
I just plan on participating in conversation, but not representing Wellington Hill Fire Department. Okay.
So I guess we could then determine that we could get another member of the Wellington Hill Fire.
Oh,
Department.
absolutely. That's what we talked about the last
We
meeting.
did,
I
we
still
did, yeah.
think that's the same
That's-
thing. We
that's-
should consider,
Okay.
we should, or the fire department should consider offering a name or something.
All right, so we'll put that on the agenda for our next meeting to discuss that. Tyler did bring up a good point that if our conversation, we were just talking casually about that, this very thing. If our conversation starts to sort of lean into town policy stuff, please make sure someone pulls us back from that. To make sure we're
Yeah,
not,
and that
you
was,
know, yeah.
that was the point I was gonna make here, that we are a committee appointed by the board of
I
selectmen.
know.
So when we push things back to the board of selectmen, we have to be careful and.
Right.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
handled, has to be handled strictly as this committee
Mhm.
and avoid speaking.
Well, right, yeah, exactly. We don't wanna violate the
Respect
public
to
trust.
the board of selectmen.
Right, and we don't wanna violate the public trust. We want that to be very clear. So if someone feels we are going in a direction that could be wrong, please correct us. Okay, thank you for that clarification. All right, so just to sort of at the table, we have received the final invoice from Fitch. The fourth and final installments have been submitted to the town. It's in the business office. We have, I don't know, till the end of the month, or at least second of February. I asked Rasheen about it, and she said we have plenty of time, but we don't want to delay it. The question is, has Fitch and Associates met all of our specifications, needs, requirements within the RFP?
Well, with the exception of, I think there's a requirement in the RFP that they do a public presentation.
That's what I was just looking at.
That's fine.
Page 31 of their proposal.
There. Well, was it a public, I mean, does it say
Presentation.
final presentation to the town? Okay. So in that sense, yes, so if we go through the timeline, just, kickoff meeting, refine work plan and scope, meet with steering committees, I think that's been met. Overview of community served and budget analyses, I guess that's been met. Overview of the department's organization structure, currently provided services, interjurisdictional comparisons. Okay. Stakeholder input, check. Fire stations, locations, utilizations, check. Analyses of assigned response areas, you say check. Analysis of 5-year historical data. Now, that seemed to be some controversy, whether they actually had a full 5 years. Has that been put to rest? Are we satisfied that they're working on 5 years? It seemed to go back and forth between 2 and 5.
I think that they've. I'm correct. They looked at historical data. They kind of based their report on 2024.
Seems that way.
Because that was pretty consistent with previous years.
Okay,
And I think that's how they analyzed things.
so are we comfortable that they've met that?
Fire department, gosh, pipe in on this one because
We did discuss this
We did.
when he was on the Zoom, we did
Right.
discuss this, and I'm trying to think back through that conversation. He explained that he was using. If I remember right, he said he explained he was using 2 years that were the. Easiest data to retrieve or something like that to sort of create what things would look like. But that for certain things, he was going to use what was really not quite 5 full years.
Right.
Because of, because COVID threw things off and some other things, but. Do you remember this, Tyler? Was it, there was like 3.5 years of good data, right?
Yeah, well,
Of what we think is representative of normal
yeah,
data. And he was going to include all that by the end, right? I think that's what he said.
I think so, but didn't we talk about how, like. There were a couple of events that would skew the numbers anyways.
There was some coding changes and,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I don't think it amounts to a whole hell of a one way or the other, that's my opinion.
Okay.
To make them dig into that data just to produce an average that is exactly what we see anyway. But
Fair. Good, okay, so we'll say that's been met. Conduct risk analysis of each station by incident type and their severity, I feel that that's been done. Analyze needs for new stations or identify opportunities for consolidation of stations, I think that is sort of the gist of the final report. Analysis of fire staffing, there was some certainly pages on that. Analysis of fire and EMS apparatus, equipment and resource configurations, current and future needs, that seems to have been met.
Mhm.
Maximizing efficiencies, reducing duplication of services and identifying opportunities for improvement. Sure. Within the scope of what he's offering. Development of recommendations, draft summary report and potential implementation schedules. And then the last two, final presentation to town and proposed on-site visits. I think what I'm reading, those aren't the things that have not been,
Well, he's done two on site, hasn't he?
I thought he was only here once. He was here for more than one day, but he hasn't physically,
Well, he was, yeah, he was on one Zoom meeting with us.
he was on a Zoom meeting, but no on-site.
That was a Q and A.
That's right, that's right. So,
Perhaps that.
um,
Number two. But I really think if we do a presentation to the town, we need him in the room
I would think so,
to help explain stuff that's a little
absolutely.
for our heads,
Um,
particularly in analysis methodology.
all right, so,
Do we talk about him doing the initial presentation of the Board of Finance?
Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance,
I
and
thought that's what we talked
Yeah.
about. To add some
Right.
credence to the arguments that have the guy that they paid make the presentation and present the options that were identified. Would possibly carry more weight than coming from us. I think was the general gist of the town.
yeah. But that could certainly be done in a larger venue,
Sure.
so all three boards could be there and a certain number of town people, it doesn't have to be a town meeting.
So.
But it would be a public meeting and we would invite interested members of the town, so
Sure.
it would be a meeting of townspeople.
And they may have questions for him too, the public may have.
Exactly.
Questions.
Yeah, and I think that could be very productive, I think, if the three boards, commissions are there. And then it's all of the people in the Zoom meeting, we could have it upstairs. It's Zoom and have it be crowded in here, anyway, yeah.
I think the Board of Finance should be explicitly invited to.
Of course, yes. But anyway, so outside of do we feel that all of the parameters have met except for the final presentation? It's the summary. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Whatever we've got from them, that's what we're gonna get. I was thinking that,
well, is it?
what,
I have a question along those lines.
Yeah. that's what we're talking
That's
about.
great. I'm glad we have the final report. I certainly like the idea of our consultants supporting us in a presentation to the community or to our boards.
Mhm.
But what I'm really looking for, now that we have this report. Then once we get feedback from the community, we have to sit down and come up with a solution that we think works.
Absolutely.
Recommendation.
Yeah,
That's where I'm looking for his expertise, because he's done this before. And if we come up with a consensus on what we think we wanna do. I'd love to get his feedback on that. For example, if we were merging these two departments. He says that's happening across the country, that people are going to a single station model. How do you merge the two cultures of different, or multiple cultures of different departments? I'm sure he's seen this before.
Good point.
And I wanna know what he did there or another place.
I believe in the contract or his response. We were able to, outside of, once he completed the report, we were able to contract with him on an hourly basis. As the.
Okay, just pick his brain for free, huh?
Right, yeah, that wasn't really.
I agree with you.
Why,
Yeah.
But if we have to bring him on for, listen, we're going.
What's his hourly
10, 20 hours
rate?
of your time.
He's definitely. I think he'll be reticent to some extent to go down that road, only because the history has been with him all along. He wanted to leave it at like 8 options.
Yeah.
And he wanted to put it back to the community to determine what their political and financial will is, right? He said that multiple times.
Yeah.
And we forced him down to 2. We said, at least narrow us down. We don't want to present 8 options to the town.
Right.
Get us down to a couple of options that you think are the most likely recommendable, that you
Right.
think make sense for the town, and that's how we got down to the 2 options. I really don't think he wants to go to one single option.
No, I think.
No.
Peter, what?
No,
Once we determine.
I hear what Mike's saying, but I'm saying, we're gonna come up with some kind of consensus on what we
Yeah.
think we want to present to the community.
I think we have to present to the community first and see what the community. Right, I think that's what we talked about, was at some point we have to get out to the community and see if they have. If it's palatable to the community to leave our response level as it is. Or if it's palatable to spend some money to improve our response level.
Right, then, I wanna make.
Not how I understood it.
I wanna
That's
make
what I
sure
thought.
we're on the same page. I think what you're saying is. Once we have this, on the meeting, we unveil, what we- all the stuff, and we get the input from the community.
Share the report
We
as
have,
is.
we have to come back, here's a group, and make a
We
recommendation
have
on
to
what
decide.
direction.
We have to
Once
decide.
we decide on what
Okay,
direction, then
yes,
bring him.
yes.
Is right,
Yes,
correct?
and pick his brain on whatever it is
I
we're
agree
doing.
with it. After we decide what direction we want to move it, then bring him in if needed.
But is there dollars or resources of him left to do that?
I don't think it would
Not
be
in the
within the
original.
RFP, it would be an additional thing that we
Oh.
could then work with,
An hour.
but that's fine, that's.
His hourly rate wasn't the.
275 an hour.
Are we budgeted to be able to do that?
We had $200,000 for research, engineering, yada, yada, and we have spent, I don't know, maybe 50 of it.
Oh, okay.
But
thought
that
that were-
was budgeted 2 years ago, so, and it was a holdover from something else, so. There, in theory, as I understand it, there's money in the money available to continue research and development.
Yeah, if they need to.
So, as I was reading it over, it does seem, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding this, but it seems that the whole thing that the Fitch report was always going to hinge on is like a service standard, it's response time. And I was thinking about that, so yeah, they probably can't really recommend a response time to a town. That's really up for the town to decide. If they-
Somebody in the waiting room.
What's that?
Sorry, there's somebody in the waiting room.
Oh, thank you. Luke. Welcome, Luke. It would probably, I mean, really, how could they possibly say, we think you should have this response time? It's really up to the community to decide that. It wouldn't be, we would be well outside them to do that. So anyway, that's what we have. We have some different scenarios and different response times, and like Mike just said, it's up to the town to decide. We can offer our suggestions, we can provide depth and color to it, but really ultimately, what. Like you said, response times have a price tag, what do we wanna do? And that's so, but for this piece, for item A. We believe that the final two items, on-site visits and a presentation to the town, whatever we decide that is to be, I think that would be up to us to decide. What the town presentation is.
Mhm.
I don't think that's been met, and we can speak to that.
Well, he invoiced 2 increments, did he not?
That is on the same invoice.
Yeah, same invoice. but
Yeah, but it's for the
Third and fourth,
third and fourth, so we can pay the third,
we should pay the third.
we should pay the third, and then withhold the fourth. But we can also have a conversation about it. Is it all right that this comes from this committee, or should it come from the Board of Selectmen?
This committee.
Who should author the letter and who should it be signed by? Contract was signed by the by the first selectman.
Right.
I'm not trying to advocate any responsibility as chair, I just wanna make sure.
Be careful here, because we're.
Well, I know, no, but this is really just
Well, but this committee,
would decide who authors the letter, what do we wanna say?
right, but what is the goal of the letter?
To say, we feel that we're willing to pay.
Right.
Fourth, the third quarter payment has been
Right.
paid. We feel the final two items. Have not been met, or some words.
Right.
And we will then, once we get a confirmation, we're willing to pay the final ones.
So I think if,
Yeah.
just looking how operations normally happen on projects, I don't think it's, a lot of times it's not even that formal.
Hmm.
I think as long as it's somewhere in writing from a committee chair. So this is a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen,
Right.
right? So, and who signed the contract originally?
First selectman at the
The
time,
first
so they're
selectman, okay.
one hand sign.
Right, okay.
And Mike, you just call them and tell them that you're not getting paid until we done the public presentation.
Text them.
That conversation.
Absolutely, we should have that now.
Well,
So-
we can confirm it, right, the board of selectmen signed the thing, it's your problem.
So if you as chair of this committee
Yes,
sent an email to the first selectman, whoever that is,
yep,
and said, we believe that enough work has been done to pay this and such invoice, but not this and such invoice,
Right,
that's
so-
enough.
all right, so
The
tonight
first
we,
selectman can direct, the finance office to pay
Right.
whichever the appropriate invoices are. That's typically,
Okay.
that's typically kind of the flow, I think.
so I guess for tonight then, we would need a motion from this committee that the committee chair will draft a letter to the first selectman that the final two items of the workflow per page 31 of the proposal still needs to, I don't want to say have not been met in a more positive
Have
sense.
yet to be met.
Have yet to be met. And then the committee recommends that we make the third quarterly payment and wait for confirmation before we pay the fourth quarterly payment, or words to that effect. Can I say I just made that motion?
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion? That I'm gonna write a letter to the first selectman saying what I just said.
I think an informal conversation with Steve Knight might make sense.
I agree, yes, yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, Luke has raised a hand,
Watch out.
well, I didn't really put in a present to speak on this one, so. It's not on the agenda, so. But anyway,
Chat a message on there asking if he can unmute as well.
I think that's because cursor's on it.
Okay. No, there's actually a chat. He had written a chat asking if he could unmute.
well, I didn't put it on, I didn't put present to speak on the agenda, so this is a public meeting, but it doesn't mean that the public can necessarily participate.
And it's,
The way it is.
it's a regular meeting.
Yeah, it's a regular meeting. Anyway, okay, so that pretty much covers, any other thoughts on that? Any other thoughts about, the proposal or what, has Fitch met have they given us what we want, what we wanted? I think,
One thing I was wondering about, Andy, when I look at that graph thing of his single station deployment versus two station deployment, the kind of graphical representation of pluses and minuses of either. One of the things that he highlights in both scenarios is reduced cost of apparatus needs, which is a frequent topic at Board of Finance meetings at budget time. That we know we're duplicating trucks and equipment because we have two departments.
right,
Well, what is that reduced cost? Like, is he going to give us some sort of financial analysis of what our, for lack of a better word, rolling stock needs would be on the single station model versus the station model? And what the reduced operating, I was saying is all these efficiencies, but the Board of Finance is gonna say, well, what are they?
isn't that in
Well,
there?
he did provide,
He talked about
he
that.
did talk to some extent about, certain trucks or types of trucks not being
Oh, yeah,
replaced.
Okay,
Are we still in a motion?
yeah, we're still in the motion about what we wanna say,
Oh,
so I
sorry.
think we're still
Yeah,
good with that, but. All right, so,
got a motion.
It's been made, it's been seconded, so we're just gonna vote on it.
all right, so, all in favor of the chairman of this committee writing to the Board of Selectmen to recommend payment for the third quarterly payment, but waiting on the fourth until we get clarification on the final presentation to the town.
Just clarification, that's to the first selectman.
Clarification to the fiscal year.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right, the motion is unanimous. Thank you.
Okay,
Ralph has put together something.
well,
You have the chair, you have the floor.
I just want to continue the discussion.
Yes,
Back, rolling stock, as Peter brought up. In the single station model, I think what Steve had told us was we would simply not replace a piece of apparatus that's due for replacement
yeah,
in the near future. And that would be the savings with respect to apparatus. As far as the gear is concerned, that's going to depend on the people you have.
Well, I understand. I'm just thinking of, if I'm a member of the Board of Finance, what does that mean? Not replace the equipment? Do we have to look up the value of each? It has to be tangible.
It's a little hard to make it tangible because it's basically saying we're gonna avoid future capital expense by not replacing a certain amount of the trucks. There's gonna be attrition, basically. So you're gonna save in the potential future bonding or loans or whatever. And then you have to factor in how those are paid for. Like if they were being paid for by Fund 17, then as we've all experienced in decades of having these conversations, then Fund 17, more funding is available for other things. If it's something that might have, I mean, typically things are paid for out of Fund 17. So really what it means is Fund 17's balance increases and is available again for other things. So it would be less eating up of Fund 17 on payments
And
for
not just
apparatus.
equipment, but staff cost as well, because he's saying there's staffing efficiencies as well.
Yeah, but there's no money efficiency in the staffing that he's recommending, because he's recommending considering the possibility of adding paid staff.
Yeah. In the future,
Yes. So
If we
so
don't
there's
have
no
volunteers.
money savings, there's no money savings there. His efficiencies there were functional. Like administrative and training and things like that. Everyone is trained in the same way on the same apparatus. So those are really, those are not dollar efficiencies, those are functional, maybe even safety. Value there, but not dollar value. And even in the 2-station model, the suggestion is going from 3 stations to 2, you would by attrition reduce your apparatus to some extent. So really what you're doing is you're avoiding future expense.
Right. You're not unloading anything.
No, I understand the logic of it,
It's just harder to quantify.
it would be helpful if we could have something concrete for the Board of Finance in particular.
Maybe that's our
Yeah,
job.
maybe we can work through it, yes.
Maybe that's what we have
But
to
thank you for
explain.
that.
We've got some equipment that's 35 years old, so
Right.
it should be replaced.
Yes,
So if we don't replace it,
We could come up with a reasonable guesstimate on what that would cost to replace it and say we're avoiding this particular expense.
the one thing I think we're gonna have to work out is the physical stations or station. And the timeline for that,
Absolutely. That's the big meat.
because obviously we can't do this in one shot. We have a grant hanging out there for Station 13.
Mhm.
It could be utilized, but does that force us to stay in the 2-station operation?
Good question.
I don't think we can use that money and throw it in the pot for the
But
whole
we
thing.
don't really know.
Well, what we do
Yeah,
know,
that was pretty,
it was supposed to be associated with a $3.2 million construction project.
Mhm.
And it was tied specifically to that street address.
yes,
We'll know more Monday.
Is it yeah, I think it's,
Monday.
yeah, I think Monday we have a Zoom with to get the latest information coming from the federal government
Okay.
on what the parameters are gonna be. We don't know.
We don't know anything. Monday's the first time we're actually getting anything.
Okay.
okay, it's something we gotta be aware of. Tom, you can. Should share for you.
I'll catch up from here.
Is that something else, Andy or Ralph, that are expert in this? Can we move federal funding like that to our purpose, even if it doesn't match the original?
I don't know if the consultant would know, but I guess we.
There's a local funding contingent to that grant.
Right.
So we can't, we've gotta be careful that we don't screw it up,
All right.
because that. We have to have a commitment of. Oh no,
Probably.
what was that, only 10%?
Yeah.
That $500,000 grant is 10%
Something.
of the project cost. I think they're based on that.
Well, it was not 10 per,
10%.
it's not 10%, because $525,000 is not. And 3.2 million are not. But whatever that number
But
is.
the point I think I'm trying to make is that the town's gotta pony up some money in order.
Yes.
To get that grant.
Well,
Yes, Correct.
Well, I guess,
That's not a gift.
I
Comes with
understand,
strings like most.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
completely understand. I'm just hoping that the purpose could be, the one we want, not the one that's tied to an address.
we certainly are always gonna get a no if you don't ask, so it certainly is worth to say, hey. We applied for this grant 3 years ago, times have changed, can this grant now be
It's a reasonable,
repurposed in a way that still benefits the town with its original intent to be definitely related to emergency services, but maybe in a slightly different way that is more in line with the new goals, because things have changed. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing.
That was kind
But
of,
all they can do is say, no.
Alex, that was focused on an EOC, wasn't it? Well,
That's how we, yes.
That's how we
It's
portray it.
tied to emergency management.
Right. Alright, so I guess just keep your ears open to see if there's inroads to where can this be altered, gonna be massaged and repurposed to align more with our current goals, which have certainly changed in the last 3 years. Well, good, I'm glad your guys are on it, and I'm glad it's happening, something to happen.
Okay, you wanna move on to this?
Yes, well, let's move on to item B, discussion of, the draft, committee, we'll call it our own sort of setting.
What I wanted to do, I didn't want to dump Fitch's report into the laps of Joe Average person, because if you're a fire person, you understand most of what's in that report. If you're the average resident, you don't. What I also wanted to do was explain how we got to where we are today, from having no fire department at all when you get back into the 40s, early 40s or late 30s. So,
Oh, so the evolution of emergency services in the town of Wellington.
Correct.
To start.
you know, we didn't have an ambulance in town until the 60s. I don't, and the other thing is, I don't think every resident understands that we have two independent fire departments. And that was something I wanted this document to outline to people. So I was trying to give a little historical background and then explain that this study that's been accomplished, and we have the final report, presents us with options, not one answer. And this is where the committee, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because you're all here. We need to choose which option makes the most sense for the town. And I think, as we've discussed earlier, we need some public input on that too. Because they need to understand. You moved into town, this was the response time that the town's capable of providing for you. By the virtue of the fact that you moved here, you kind of have to accept that. And now to insist that we need to go from 9 minutes to 5. Well, that comes at an extreme cost, folks. Do you want to pay that? Will that fly? It's like building a $80 million school.
Right.
Didn't quite fly. So this was the reason for trying to do this, and I want to slip it under the cover sheet in Fitch's report, leading into their executive summary. This is the way I felt it should be handled. But I do want everybody's input on this text, because unfortunately, I was hoping on doing this at Christmas time, but I had a little oops.
They all have.
The few hours I was on the train, I could have got a lot of this written.
Well, this is great, so we can go through this, it'll be fun to have a picture, didn't, I believe, Mike, you said. That original firehouse is that garage right up here, right, that's.
Yeah, Islands in Hill,
Well,
yeah.
it'll be fun to have pictures of that as we went through this, and I think it's great to bring the town up to speed on.
The only thing I just want to kind of make sure is we're direction setting for what we're doing here, because, and I may be mixed up, but I thought we originally discussed we were gonna do a 1-page. So it would be simple for the public to digest. We were gonna do a 1-page sort of layman summary.
I
What the
was-
report, like to set the stage for the report.
Understood, and I found it difficult to condense this, that's the problem.
Which surprises me, you usually good at brevity.
No, I'm not, Mike, you know better.
So just imagine what the original was.
That's why it took so long, you had to cut it down from 10 pages, didn't you?
I could have gone much longer. I don't expect feedback tonight.
Yeah.
I would like everyone to read it, think about it, and see if this is appropriate, if it can be condensed. But I do want the public to understand how we got to where we are today. From having nothing to today's version of emergency services.
And I'm an advocate for having. To propose these as conversations with the town, not lectures, not this is what has to be done. I mean, I think it's far better to say, this is a conversation we're having with all of you.
Yeah.
To determine what is the best course of action. Here is this committee composed of lay people and professionals. Have come up with what they believe is the best course of action, but we're presenting it to everyone. Here's the conversation.
Yeah, and the other thing I didn't really want to do in here, the last page gets into some options that I see. Some of you may disagree with that. I don't want to be speaking for the committee as a whole.
I think your last page is kind of what Mike was just alluding to, the options. And maybe the history becomes an appendix to that one page where people can, you
It's a
know,
good introduction. Well, it's a
Yeah.
good introduction to the conversation, and then you get into what we say, and then here's the report. And the report could be available for weeks before the meeting. I mean, it probably should be. I think that's frequent.
be online.
Yeah, right, it would be right. It would be available online, and it would be available on months before, however, anyway. But I think that has been a point of order for people that, you know, you're publishing the document we're supposed to look at the day of. And it really should be weeks before, so people have a chance to look at it.
Well, part of this, I really want to get this report online.
Yes. Well, that's what we're gonna determine, and once we get our final report, we can say this is the final. It's not gonna get any different.
Yes, but I think this should be a part of it.
Okay.
That's all.
Good. But I mean, it can't be, yes, but this is our part. It's not gonna be Fitch's.
No, it's clearly not going to be Fitch's
Right.
statement. It's going to be this committee's statement
Right.
as an introduction to Fitch's report.
All right, so we're gonna go and mark this up, and you won't have your
Please.
feelings hurt if we make a whole bunch of criticisms.
Go for it. That was my.
Worded so gently.
Suffice to say, for.
Anyway, that's my
Hard business.
explanation of
That's good.
my
I think it would be fun.
my document here, so,
I think it would be fun to present it and have this conversation with the town.
okay.
Can I ask a quick question about it? How
Yeah.
long do you think it's gonna be before we release the report?
Before what?
Before we can put the report out?
I don't know, well,
Just because we meet with CIP next week and they're hot to trial.
okay,
I know that.
then,
That's all.
Yeah,
I know.
honestly so, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, this was gonna be my next question, so.
Sorry.
Okay, well,
No, say sorry. Keep
I
going.
the letter from this committee will be drafted tomorrow, and that will be sent to the first selectman. And then conversation with Fish that can be had
Whenever we can catch them.
whenever we can catch him, and, I have great faith that the first selectman knows how to have that conversation and what to say. And, that will sort of dictate what happens next, but I am of the mindset that this report isn't gonna change anymore.
No.
This is the product that they are delivering, and if we're comfortable with that. And I think we are, and then we're not asking for any additional amendments to that document.
So
We're
you're,
simply asking for it.
so
Now,
your email intends to inform the first selectman's office what of the invoices should get paid
yes,
and what remains to be done so that the first selectman's office can reach out to Fitch and say, hey, this is where we are. This is what we need from you.
This is a recommendation.
This is why we're holding back.
Yes, and then
Right.
why the, yeah.
Okay, and then. So. There's still some time probably before this report is gonna be out. Which is a challenge for the budget process.
Yeah.
But not as much as. The next, and I don't have the agenda in front of me. What I assume we would also talk about is what our current status is at the current buildings. Because I think even more pressing. Is if we can do something. Or should be doing something with the current situation with the ambulance crew sleeping in a camper.
Yes.
So I was gonna ask, is there?
So that maybe, is that another? I don't think, I not only don't have it in front of me, but I can't read it because I don't have my glasses on.
I don't think there's anything on there about the stations.
There wasn't,
So I'm gonna add in the hurry, and I'm not a part of the meeting, so.
no, that's perfect. Anyone can make a motion to add something. to the
Well, if you
agenda.
guys wouldn't mind adding that to the agenda, I think that would be great. Once we're done with this topic.
Well, I think we're done with discussing Ralph's summer.
Yes, and if,
You'll be looking for feedback from the state.
yes, please,
So,
feedback, criticism.
if I heard it right, we would like to add, I'm gonna make a motion. That we add an item C to new business. To discuss the current. State of the. Of the emergency services buildings and particularly the quartering of the full-time.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Second. Write that down, building status. And ordering. Our staff. All right, the motion is made and seconded to add an item to discuss building status and ordering of full-time staff. Motion made and seconded, any discussion? All in favor of adding to the agenda?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. Who wants to open this discussion?
For the benefit of the committee. In my role as first selectman, attending. Meetings like CROG meetings and CCM meetings, I became aware of a service that's available. Through CROG. Which is the council of governments that we are part of.
Capital Region.
Indeed, and that service is essentially a construction estimating service. CROG went through the process, just like the state does with state contracts.
Mhm.
CROG went through the process of bidding this out. And the particular company that does the estimating called Gordian won the bid. What that means is because it was bid in a public process and it's been qualified and certified, and whoever signs off on that stuff. It is legal and appropriate to contract with those services because they're on a standing contract that's been bid.
Mhm.
Just as if we went to the state contract to buy something.
Yep, makes sense.
And so without having to spend any money and without any commitment from the town. That service will come out and help you define the scope of a project.
All right.
And get it estimated.
Huh.
So. I wonder if this could apply to the problem at 426 River Road. So I called them up or sent them an email or something and said, hey, we've got this situation with a fire station. Is that something that fits in the work you guys do? Absolutely. Do you want to come out and look at it? Sure. Can we it was like on a Thursday or a Friday, can we come out Monday?
Yeah, they called up first.
So I reached out to Alex, I said, hey, can you be there on Monday? They'll come look at it. So we met them. The estimator from the service, Gordian, and an estimator from the
Engineers.
contractor. Who is the one who would do the work
Huh.
if it was awarded.
Okay.
Those two estimators came out. We walked around, Tyler was there. And
Nice.
just looked at what the conditions were
Yeah,
and said,
yeah.
here's our problem. Took some hints from what was discussed in these meetings
Mhm.
over the last year or two, like. should we just put it back together as a garage?
Yeah.
Or should we put it back together as a space that can accommodate living, proper living spaces for the ambulance crew? And so I just said to them, I said, talk with the people here, look at the building, come up with an estimate to make it a functional garage. Clean, heated, can put trucks in it, the air is safe enough to be storage. Give us an option B of clean, safe, heated, but also build spaces, bathrooms, make it habitable for the ambulance crew, some bunk rooms within this structure. And my thinking on that was that while we're doing this whole process and the Fitch report and the capital process and everything else, we're not gonna have feedback from the public, a final recommendation and a capital, anything happening for at least into the next capital cycle, a year from now. So what do we do in the meantime? So we're waiting. They emailed today, said they might have it done by the end of this week.
Wow.
Definitely within the month of January, we will have it.
Yeah, it seemed he was hoping this week, but definitely by the end of next week.
Did they seem attentive? I mean, how was the feeling?
We were there 2 hours with them, right? About 2
Yeah.
hours, and
They
were
like their
fantastic.
responses? I mean, they like what they were saying and.
The engineer was very, I thought attentive to what we had to say. Both.
They were
the legal-
listening. That's good, yeah.
And they seemed, we had talked about what we knew for pricing and stuff like that, and they said not to worry about that, it was.
They said they were gonna tell us right down to how many sheets of plywood.
Wow, that's excellent.
The estimating software will cough out everything.
That sounds very positive.
And there was
So
there
we'll
was
see.
conversation about, demo, cause we know there's stuff that's gotta come out of it. Whether, we can save some money of using Public Works to do some of that stuff. There'll have to be some groundwork that has to be done. Just different ways of trying to save some money,
Yeah,
but they would have everything priced out.
interesting. So they seem to understand municipalities and what
They
happens.
just built a firehouse in Lisbon,
Oh, really? Was it Lisbon?
Lisbon,
Can't.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just out there.
So they just did a firehouse.
Huh.
They had no fears of doing it, but they did say all the tin's coming off that building, roof, siding,
Really?
all of it coming out.
Just the bones then, huh? Well, that's all right.
Yeah, one of the things we noticed that day that was concerning was the roof is less than 20 years old. The skin was taken off, insulation was redone, the roof was put back on, patched, repaired, whatever. There's water getting into the roof because some of the insulation was hanging down. And when you shine a light up to it, you can see it had water in it, in the ceiling.
It's not a good point.
And
that's been-
there was one spot where it's dripping out of the insulation has a big sag in it, and there's water dripping out of it onto the floor in the fire station, so.
It was, the roof was gone over before we moved out.
Yeah, 'cause we had it resealed and.
They missed one spot somewhere.
It does, it's easy to do and hold there. Well, that sounds very encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, there's no commitment, there wasn't a dollar spent at this
No,
point,
right,
and they'll produce
but
something for us to
that's,
discuss.
but that's something real that we can then latch onto particularly.
Unfortunately, we're really pushing our luck on the capital process right now.
Yeah, right. And the second part of this motion was to speak to the quartering, or is that the same conversation?
So it's the same conversation, the hope is by next winter of finding a better suitable.
Okay.
We
We
are
can
noticing.
make it through 2026 winter, the staff can
Barring any
handle
more
it.
issues, but barring any more problems, yeah,
Okay.
we've been having some. And the trailer's now 13 years old, it's been
Yeah.
lived in for we're
Yeah.
over 3 years now.
Okay,
So it's, anybody that's ever had a camper, if you stay in it that long, it starts to.
they go a little aged, yeah, but morale's all right, people are handling it.
They're handling it, they're not the happiest about it, but they're.
Imagine that, sure. Okay,
They're fine, but by 2026, we have to have another, or by this next, by next winter. We gotta try to have another solution, 'cause
gotcha, no, that makes sense.
I don't know if that trailer would,
Okay,
and I just wanted to update as of today, the ambulance that was stored at Stafford is getting moved to Mansfield. Mansfield is being generous to offer us a bay.
okay,
Um,
how does that work for, is that
it's
better? factor? Is it?
It's not, it's actually just about the same amount of distance.
Okay.
It's gonna be down on 32 by the station 107. Just about the same, so.
Was that Eagleville?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the leadable station.
All right. And you guys have access to that? There's no
Yeah,
problem
they'll get us
there?
in there and, Stafford needs the bay back,
Okay.
so Mansfield's, offering to let us keep it there.
And did you negotiate that? Or was that, I mean,
Yeah,
good, well, thanks, good
There's-
job.
no charge to it.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's.
It lucked out that Willimantic moved their emails out yesterday.
That is like that. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if this is really part of an agenda, but because we were talking about the Fitch summary report, but we'll just say this is back under. Kind of a conversation about. The final report, is there any reason that you mentioned CIP? Is there any reason that boards and commissions cannot have an advanced copy of this report? Prior to it being published on the website?
You took the words right out of my mouth, Andy. Why can't we have a placeholder figure that the fire departments can present the CIP?
I don't know, I don't know, I mean, if this is the final report and we agree that we're gonna pay the third quarter, which we did tonight. And the fourth quarter payment is just really two items, presentation, nothing to do with the content
Yeah,
or.
shouldn't be holding us up, I agree.
Right, so why not just, say this is the report without any of our editorializing or any, that we will do. But just to say, let's get the information out there.
The only caution I would have is that's essentially a public release.
Yes,
It is a public release. Right.
and
And we keep talking about, we don't wanna release to the public till we build the preface for it.
Okay.
I would like it out sooner than later,
Me too.
but we just have to. We have to figure out, are we going, are we not going, are we? Are we going to frame it with an introduction, or are we gonna get it out there? Cause once we send it to the boards, it's going everywhere. People are gonna start sending it around and then
yes,
people are gonna be
it'll
commenting on it.
transport itself all over.
It will, right, so do we wanna be in front of it with some introductory material? Then we better do that quickly,
Does that
otherwise we
matter?
gotta,
Does that matter? I mean, if it comes out and the explanation comes out afterwards, then.
the explanation is almost useless if it comes out afterwards.
Yeah.
People will make up their minds.
And the problem with Fitch's report as it stands is it's not decisive enough to keep CIP happy. There's no dollar figures in there. There's no specific course of action in there because this committee hasn't got there yet.
It's up to us.
Okay, good point.
I don't know that it would be, I understand that we'd like to put this out, but if we don't have any dollars attached to a course of action, nor do we
Well,
have a.
and we're not gonna be able to attach dollars to it.
No, we're not.
So what we need to do is we need to figure out. If we want the introduction to be with it, if so, we gotta. We were originally talking about the introduction being in the second week of December. So now we're in the second week of January,
Second meeting of January.
so.
Well,
Should the introduction have a recommendation as to what we're gonna do with this?
Are we
report?
there yet? I don't know.
Well, the introduction was supposed to help set the scene so the public could start digesting it, and then we wanted to get people together, have a presentation, get the feedback from the public. I mean, let's face it, we're talking about weeks and weeks and weeks in the middle of budget season before we would be able to have this committee make a recommendation.
I think so.
no, you're right.
Well-
You're right, realistically.
And
Do we need to have our summary done before the public presentation by Fitch?
Yes,
And we should be able to easily, because, I mean, we're not gonna schedule him like in a week. Right? I mean, how quickly do we think we could get him here?
What's the CIP deadline?
For submission is December 9th.
So it's expired.
Yeah.
What do we have in there now?
for this.
For this, nothing.
Engineering costs.
Not for this, but for whatever placeholders we have for departments.
I can't.
It's stuff in the out years, nothing, related to
I
this.
can't remember what it is,
But they had a conversation last night of they're still waiting for. Nobody has an idea what to put towards it.
I heard Marshall say that.
All right, well, I guess then we need to, how do we work on the summer reporting? How do we approach that? How do we, I mean, Ralph has come up with a draft, I haven't, how do we manage that? If this is an imperative, then we gotta jump on it.
Read it,
Um,
critique it, cut it up.
we'll
Whatever,
just keep working on it until we all agree that this is the.
but I think
summer report.
feedback from this committee should be as prompt as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so,
Now that I have the basic body of text, I can massage it as anyone sees as appropriate and
all right, well, that's our homework.
call it done.
That's our homework.
When does CIP meet again?
Next Wednesday night, fire department's report better on the agenda.
Wednesday.
All right, well, would it be worth
Could we be ready by then?
by next Wednesday? We have
Depends
to have
on
a
you
meeting,
guys.
we'd have to have an additional meeting and make motions and pass resolution. I think
We could do a quick special meeting, I
we
suppose.
can do a quick special meeting, we should set to publish it 48 hours in advance, not a big deal.
We could get away with it.
24, we could get away with 24. Because we have the Zoom link, just throw that up there. Yes, I mean, there's, yeah, what I'm wondering though is. Or what I'm just, even if we just get in front of CIP using the placeholder that's already there for the fire departments to simply say. The Fitch report has been completed, the committee is developing the draft summary. This will be coming out soon, I mean, just, I think the public needs to be aware that this committee has done something. And we've reached a point of where conclusions will be forthcoming, even if they're not right there yet. I don't know if we wanna, I mean, to try to put something together in a week. If it's, I mean, I'd say, yeah, sure, let's make it, even if it's not perfect, we can fix it later. I mean, nothing needs to be perfect, and perfect doesn't even exist, so. I'd rather get something out, anything out. And like, yeah, we wanna be in front of it and we wanna, be part of the narrative. But it doesn't need to be perfect, because the conversations are gonna go on for a long time and they're gonna keep evolving, so. And we're gonna learn things as we go, which could change our original narrative anyways. Yeah, all right, let's see if we can get it done in a week. And call a special meeting, so if everybody can do their homework, read the Fitch's proposal again. And see just make notes, whatever it can be, doesn't matter how it comes back, we'll send it to you, Ralph.
Fine.
And,
Man, I'm not traveling anywhere, so I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
use another
We'll,
computer.
we'll build a summary and then we can. Let's see, if we want to have a meeting before next Wednesday, we could have it. We'd have to have it Tuesday, which means notice would have to go out on.
Well, next week is a nasty week for meetings,
Yeah. Yes.
because the 13th is ZBA.
Well, we don't
There's
even have,
like 2 meetings per night, every night of the
Alright.
week.
and it really, we don't have time. To. We don't have time to get it out for next Wednesday because the office is closed one.
Even if we just have somebody here at the CIP meeting from this committee, I think will be beneficial.
Okay. No? Are
Just
you
have
gonna
it
go
on
to
the
the CIP meeting?
When is that?
13th. I think the same time as ZT.
No, it should be the 14th Wednesday.
Yeah. 13th,
14th.
13th, I want to be at the ZBA meeting.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be,
14th is CIP.
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
the incident, that's a good word for it.
All right, well. Then, all right, so, somebody,
I can be at CIP if need be.
Mike's already been there, I could be there, but. Yeah, all right. Whatever,
It looks better coming from, the conversation should come from the committee, not Tom or I.
that does probably make sense.
Agreed.
Yeah, and, okay, then.
You agree?
All right, so, and if the committee's comfortable with either Ralph or I or both are, and then Mike will probably be there too, speaking up, and James, I don't know if you're gonna be there. Okay, well, if we're all there, then we can be a unified front. Cool. See you Wednesday.
James is.
Nobody's this week.
James,
Yeah, I saw that, but we don't have president.
We don't have president speak on the agenda.
Sorry, Joe.
All right. So that pretty much covers it. Do we have anything else to discuss except next meeting, place and time? I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Well, it would be.
The next regular meeting would be 2 weeks from now.
22. yeah.
22. Okay, so the next regular meeting would be January 22nd at 6:30 lower level.
Andy?
Yeah.
Just a point of clarification, if it's not on the agenda, the public can't talk.
Well, I didn't put public speak on. I mean, they're public meetings,
But you allowed me to speak, I'm not part of it.
Just trying to think of it, obviously, if he's minds about one.
Yeah, Alex makes a good point.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
And the topic was CIP, you might have some good information.
Do you, I mean, Ian, you need to formally, that's will make a motion to add public participation to the agenda.
Sure.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to add, president to speak onto the agenda. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, president to speak. Let's open it up to public. What do I do?
Okay, Jenny can unmute.
All right. James.
Hey,
you have the
guys.
floor.
Hey guys, sorry. I was just raising my hand as chair of CIP, just to try to lay
Oh, thank you for the chat, that helped.
to kind of chime in on the conversation. Just to kind of ease concerns about Wednesday. I think we have CIP has the fire departments and this committee kind of on the agenda early, once this coming Wednesday, early in the season, just for an informal discussion to get a sense of where your general progression and thrust is at, knowing that we don't have any police report yet. The full discussion with the fire departments and I guess jointly with you is I forget the date in February, but early February is when we're really doing a detailed look at the CIP submission request for the fire departments. And any of these capital facility requests would really be more detail in that meeting. What we're really trying to get a sense of is, as there was no project renewed, capital project for a facility renewed in this coming season's request window. An understanding where you're at, what the anticipated timing is, so that we can at least have a base understanding of how this all fits into the capital plan picture as we meet weekly for the next few months. So there is time. I don't want to put you under stress to meet as a special meeting. It would be good to have your voices at the table on Wednesday, just to kind of get a sense of where you're at, where the status of the overarching master plan is for future use of the fire station, so that we kind of have an understanding of what we're looking at.
You heard the conversations tonight, so do you have an understanding of where we're at?
Generally, it would be good for the committee to hear that from you guys.
No, I know, I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
but did you kind of know?
Yeah, I do. It would be good before you guys come in, anything you can do to release. I know that this report is going to have a lot in it. It would be good for the committee to have that in hand and digest before we meet with you guys in February. So,
Okay.
there's no pressure to do it ahead of next week.
right.
Understanding that you're getting close.
All right, so
It's
we can
just,
take a peek here. We can.
There is pressure to get this done.
Yeah, there is pressure to get it done, but it doesn't have to be Wednesday.
When we take a beat, it's usually kind of a long beat.
Well, let's not take a long peek.
you guys set your own pressure. We have till February.
Fair enough.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, Tyler, good call on the president. Yeah, I just forgot, I was trying to get it done. Okay. Well, no, it's good practice, if nothing else. It's good practice for parliamentary proceedings.
Luke still here?
No.
Oh, I looked when we were talking about doing that.
All right, so, that brings us to adjournment.
So,
Second.
Supposed to make a second to adjourn at 7:39. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We are adjourned. Let's stop recording. Let's see if I know how to do that.
John Collins.
Mike.
Some more.
Next to the warrant. Yes.